call the January 26th Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the secretary call the roll, please?
Larson is absent, all others present.
Excellent, thank you. Proof of public notice.
The agenda was shared out with the Kiwanee Star, the Algoma Public Library, which was posted on the district website, as well as put out at both of the building locations.
Wonderful, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chrissy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, moving on. I entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Chris, seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. I'd like to take some time now and acknowledge our donations that have come in, which has been wonderful. We've got 5,000 from the alumni of the FFA for the agricultural classroom materials, 300 from the Casco Lions Club for the post-prom. We got 100 from Kathy Rompin for negative lunch balances, 20,000 from an anonymous donor for the Wolf Tech Education Program, 6,000 from Marvin and Deborah Cherney Family Foundation to fund 6 months of food for the weekend backpack program, and CPR equipment from the Green Bay Packers. So the FFA has given $1,000 on September 23rd, 2024. September 9th, 2025, they gave an additional $2,025 and an additional $5,000 on 12/12/2025. So thank you very much to the FFA. That has been just wonderful. And the AEF, we have scholarships for graduating seniors. We have a community give back. We have the pickleball tournament February 21st and a new revamped golf outing July 24th. So we have some things coming up with the Education Foundation. We will hear from Mr. Robinson in a few minutes. All right. So with that, we can now move on to the board recognition of the Algoma FFA alumni.
So Scott Schrinka was supposed to be here for this meeting, however, I don't see him here, so
We'll move on.
acknowledge the work that they've done. And
So we have a wonderful, fantastic certificate for the Algoma FFA when they get here, if they get here. So we shall see.
I would just add to Amy if I could,
Yes.
it has been wonderful to have them, both financially supporting, but also with the new agricultural program up and running in its second year now here in the district. Just all the support they've offered to our instructor, Mr. Neuser, to our students, allowing them to come out and do various activities. So it's been great. At the district, we are trying to provide back to the alumni as well, participating in different fundraising opportunities, whether it's the county fair, meat raffles, anything that we can be a part of. So they've been just very supportive, great partners.
Excellent. Thank you. So the next one we want to recognize is the Algoma Area Education Fund. So do you want to have do you have a little presentation for us? Do you want to do that first, or do you want the certificate first? What do you prefer?
I wasn't sure what you want, but I can say a few words if that's...
Why don't you go ahead and start with that?
So the foundation, first of all, I'll start by saying thank you for the invite to come here and represent the foundation. Patrick Robinson, the president currently of the Algoma Education Foundation. Foundation's been around since 2001 and was incorporated in 2002, so it's been around a while. The president of the board and the superintendent are director positions in the bylaws, so President Johnson and Superintendent Brickman are members of the Algoma Education Foundation, and we've been working to award scholarships since inception, basically. And like within the, like last year, for example, we worked supporting awarding of about $40,000 of scholarships, and we've recently put a real focus on dual credit enrollment because there's a real bang for buck for students and trying to support students while they're in high school and getting those extra credit opportunities. But we also have traditional sort of scholarships. I think currently we're supporting 8 family or organizational scholarships in addition to what the foundation does. We've tried to really ramp up our presence and visibility, so we've got a revamped website and a Facebook site, check it out. Amy would already hit a couple of highlights that I wanted to mention, so we're trying to really revitalize our fundraising, so we've got a pickleball tournament coming up in partnership with Algoma Venture Academy. We've got a golf scramble, and we're trying to really strengthen our alumni connections. So we're working on an alumni database and trying to really get a way to reach out to our alumni and really branch out and increase our fundraising. The foundation's also really interested in just supporting the community and supporting the school and educational endeavors overall. And so we've got the community give back grant program as an example of that, but always interested in sort of continuing to expand, and that's sort of a goal of ours, is to try to think more broadly about how we support the educational goals of the school and the community. So I think I'll end with that.
How can we as a school board support you more?
Well, given that the president's a member, that's pretty easy. That's a real softball question. But I think what would be ideal, I think you all know this, but I've been in this community my entire life, and I always kind of knew the foundation existed prior to last decade, but I didn't really know what it was doing, or if you weren't sort of in the know, you weren't in the know. And so we'd really like to increase visibility, because I suspect that we've got a very far reach of alumni that are across the country and probably the globe. And the more we can get a reach out there, the more likelihood we can create a stable sort of third funding platform for the district and for the community. So visibility is huge. Helping us attract people to our fundraisers and then creating other avenues for funding are super important. Anybody who's in the foundation business will tell you, if you can get into sort of estate planning and sort of gifts in longer term, you can really raise some serious funds. So visibility, marketing, support, getting the word out in the community would be huge, because this is a partnership that would be good for all of us.
Absolutely. Hint, hint, alumni on the board. Yes.
You got your pickleball racket on the 21st.
No, I just missed it, yeah.
Yeah, but we're still there. So, thank you very much, Patrick, and if you can come up, we have a wonderful certificate we'd like to share with the AEF. This is something new that we've started, for those of you who haven't been to a board meeting, is we'd like to acknowledge a group or some organization that's done something to promote our students. So this month, we are doing the AEF. And I'll let you do.
I don't want people back
Oh.
here.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. It's been wonderful, because we as a board get to see students and what they do and learn more about everything going on in our district. So I find it very beneficial. All right, moving on. Kara Krieger with the Student Council President update.
Do not see
I
Karen
didn't
here,
either,
so-
so I was like, okay, next up then is me with the legislative update. I'm gonna make this quick and kind of speedy, and I am going to forward it to you. There are a lot of bills going through the legislature right now because they picked up session in January, so I tried to streamline and go, well, which ones are not important? They're all important, so instead of me just reading them all, I'm gonna share them with you, and I will do the best that I can. The good news is that state revenues for 2025-27 are on track to come in $1 billion higher than expected, so I believe it's 1.529. So that's above the net balance that was projected. And the governor is calling on lawmakers to approve $1.3 billion in property tax relief that he included in the 2025-27 budget, but it had been rejected by the Republicans. So hopefully some of that money, that surplus, will come back to us as taxpayers. So I think that's a good thing. On January 21st, the Senate took up some legislation on school bus equipment, and that's having audio-visual recording devices on each of the buses to see what our kids might be doing. There is another Senate bill for an income tax subtraction for certain expenses paid by school teachers, because we all pay out of our pocket, so it would be nice to get that income tax subtraction. There is an instructional program explaining pregnancy, prenatal development, and childbirth as part of the human growth and development curriculum that they were talking about. Let's see, there's substitute teaching, allowing individuals who hold a substitute teaching permit to teach in parental choice program schools, private schools. And then there's professional development for science teachers. I believe that's going to go hand in hand with the new curriculum that they want to pass for science teachers. There is some assembly bills on school lunch that's going to prohibit school boards from providing ultra-processed foods and free or reduced lunches. There's parental choice pay pupil eligibility for parental programs based on participation by a sibling or a dependent. Then there's grooming of a child, creating a crime, grooming a child for sexual activity and providing a penalty. There's an assembly bill on margarine and serving margarine as a substitute for butter in certain circumstances, not all of them. There's another one relating to school bus operations where they would allow drivers over 70 because they still have a shortage of finding drivers capable, so they want to up that age. Also a resolution for a school district that they could adopt to exceed the revenue limit. And the last one is transporting kids in vehicles other than a school bus. So there's legislation going through with that. So that's it in a nutshell. Anybody have any questions? All right, next up is Miss Chrissy O'Connell, CISA 7 report.
Yeah, so the 14th was our CISA meeting. We had CLA there presenting the audit results. So nice big packet like this. We transitioned to Skyward like a year and a half ago, and it's made everything financially flow much smoother, a lot easier to look at our financials. Almost all of the other conversation that we had at our meeting was about the school board convention, so I had forwarded some stuff off so that you guys could share it. There were 3 presentations from our CISA. We had Pulaski, Sevastopol, Mishicot presenting. They talked about the PAC event that was at Lambeau on January 9th. Their biggest event usually of the year, great venue, right, going to Lambeau. They actually had some sponsors that came in and hosted it, stayed all week and helped out. So if you were worried that CISA's spending the district's money by hosting an elaborate event, it was sponsored by other people. Board approval wasn't needed, but we reviewed their CISA fleet vehicle manual, so if we would ever need anything, we can bounce something off of them. And then we reviewed the WASB delegate assembly packet, which
You forwarded, thank you, I did use
Yeah,
it.
we
I
did.
have it built in one month.
I have the results too, from a summary. The other thing, if anyone is interested, they did another all-call for Wisconsin academic decathlon judges. So there is online essay judging from February 19th through the 25th. They will do all the training. You just sit there and read on your own time, very easy. I think this is my 3rd year doing it. But they also need in-person speech and interview judges, February 26th. That's at Tundra Lodge at 2 p.m. So if anyone has some capacity in their life and wants to learn more about academic decathlon, that's a great opportunity. There's also opportunities to read the applications for the Herb Cole scholarship opportunity. So if that's something anybody else would be interested in, I think I'm reviewing principal requests now or something. So fun stuff. That's all.
Thank you. Any questions for Chrissy?
Can you send me those dates?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, next up is board president announcements. So I received this cute little note. There was a gentleman in the community who drew 2 of these versions of the Algoma wolf and thought they might be kind of fun for people to use during Halloween, possibly. They came from Mark Konecki, and I just thought I wanted to show it because it's not often that we get something positive from our community showing, wanting to show the wolf pride. So these are available. I don't know if any teacher would want them in their room or would want to use them. Otherwise, we could leave them in the main office, but that's kind of I'll pass them around so people can look. He hand drew them. They're quite intricate. Very much so. All right, my next announcement is at the WASB. convention, 3 of our board members received awards. The first one is Jeremy Paschik,
Thank you.
and the next one is Christopher Bennett.
Thank
And
you.
the last one is Lonnie Finnendale. So you earn points through the WASB, and you are given awards at level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. You must have done everything to hit your points into level 1, so you've gotten yours. You already have your level 1, don't you? Yeah. So do I, and so 5 of us have it now. So Mike, you'll be next, and so will Shannon, so that's wonderful. My last thing is the convention. So we left Tuesday, we had sessions Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was fun to reconnect with everyone that I had met last year and just see how things were going and progressing. There were some good sessions. One that I found interesting was you design the lesson, you design for the learner, not the lesson. And it talked about how schools are changing how they design their buildings. And the gentleman Mr. Wright, where is he from? Sauk? Sauk. He talked about when they were redoing their building, they thought about winter. And you have white walls. And it's cold and it's dark outside. So the white just doesn't really add a lot of good, friendly vibes for the kids. So they moved the windows so they were facing where they could collect the most sunlight, and that perked up the kids. And they put murals on a lot of their walls. So it's little things like that that's now a business, and there's these architects who go through and they'll help you design things with the child in mind. And I just thought that was kind of interesting. We had said, you guys were doing that with referendum dollars. So I just thought it merged very nicely, and I thought it was something important that we need to do for our kids. There was also, we saw the Sevastopol presentation. That was good to see. It was nice to support our fellow CISA 7 groups up there. So they did a nice one, learning about their strategic planning and how they're moving forward and looking at their data and doing what they can for their students. And I was going to ask Shannon to tell us what she had learned, but she couldn't make it this evening. So Jeremy, are you ready to talk about what you did?
Yeah, I mean, obviously eye-opening, as a second-year school board member, there's always something to learn. I did everything from school finance, a session on school finance, to academic accountability and progress monitoring, what board members need to know, which was very interesting. Some of the most important ones that I felt that I participated in and learned a lot from was addressing mental health needs through your community connections. And then there was a transgender student rights, where we are now, which was really interesting to see. Obviously this is a very hot topic in schools right now. So that was very interesting to see. They went over some of the laws that apply to the LGBTQ community and what we need to know to make sure that all of our students are feeling welcome and appreciated at school. So yeah, another great conference, and I look forward to seeing what they come out with next year.
Good. Mr. Brinkman, did you want to talk about it? You don't have to.
Yeah, I can talk about, one of the highlight breakout sessions for me was the Spencer School District presented on their childcare that they have been running for just over a year now. Got some fresh ideas kind of from them, but at the end of the presentation I went up and shared a little bit about our experiences with childcare, and so the superintendent over there and myself are going to connect and hopefully go over and tour maybe some of the facilities. Can kind of coach them from a perspective of how to receive the Wisconsin Shares benefits, and then they're going to kind of help us with some of the things that they put in for rates for the families and stuff, but they've made some adjustments too. So it was a great way to connect with another district. So it was very similar in size to us and population wise.
Where is that?
Spencer, just south of Abbotsford, so between Abbotsford and Marshfield. So, and then I just want to comment too, I think we heard one of the keynote speakers, Mickey Smith Jr., very impactful. He is a music teacher down in Louisiana.
That was Kansas. He's
No,
from
Louisiana. Was he a teacher in Kansas?
He's a Grammy Award winner. He brought his saxophone along and played that while he gave his speech, and his message was just very enlightening, that there's always good to look for in every situation. And it was neat to hear. We often don't get to hear from teachers in these types of keynotes, and so for him to take time away from his classroom to come up and actually present, that was powerful, so.
Yeah, there was big talk on relationships and building relations, how important that is for the students. You know, I see you, I hear you, I hear what's going on. I thought that was impactful as well. The other thing I got to do for the first time was be the delegate and attend the delegate assembly. So there were several resolutions that were passed, and I'm not gonna go through them all, but we did oppose the removal of the caps from the parental choice program. So this will be the platform that WASB will go on and legislate for us. And the other big thing was on the decoupling. They're adding vocational transition for students with disability. They think that should be everywhere. I thought that was wonderful. And they didn't pass the bylaw, and they created a new funding for children with disabilities. So I think with the surplus, the intent is to go back. Right now, we're getting 35%. We would like to get that 42% as promised. So that's a big resolution, and now we are tasking WSB with going forward with that. And that was my last thing, and now, Chrissy, what would you like to share?
At your desks or spots, I put the Destination Imagination Dinner and Team Performance. Each year, DI tries to do something. Last year, there was like an ice cream social, and we had this at the grade school. This year, it will be back up here at the gym and the cafeteria. We've got a wonderful barbecue dinner, which I just realized the top of this says pasta. Pulled pork, coleslaw, mac and cheese. There's going to be a bake sale, all sorts of fun bucket raffles and silent auction. The kids are also performing 3:30 to 4:30. These are 8-minute performances, so I'm pretty sure everybody's attention span can come and watch these if you have some time available. These kids don't get to have an audience very often. Like their regional competition is here at Algoma High School on the 28th of February, but then if you don't make it to state, that's kind of you're done. So this is maybe one of 2 times that these kids could get in front of an audience. It's a great fundraiser for them. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to make any donations to the auction or the bucket raffles, or know of a company that might want to donate something, please hit me up. I will happily send it over to our fundraising committee. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone here for public comment? No. Okay. Move on to the administration reports.
Here. All right, for tonight, 3 key takeaways. We have Haley here from CLA. She's going to give us a rundown of our financial audit, and then Amber will give a financial update from the district, and then I will close things out with our open enrollment seats for 26 and 27 school year. So, all right, welcome Haley.
Hello.
I don't know if you've been.
I was here last year, but Amber was with me, so she did most of the talking. So she's not here this year. So I'm Haley. This is my 2nd year on this school district audit. I'm a director at CLA. I've been there for 10 years. I haven't really had anything fun and exciting to share about myself. I have 3 small children who require all of my attention at a time.
Well, what was something good that happened today?
Oh, I don't know.
She came to Algoma.
I did. Yeah. I worked and then I came here. So nothing too exciting today. So if you want to go to the next slide, or the next one, this one's just like a little legal daily requires us to put in. So I'm going to start. I put a little slideshow together, go through what we're required to communicate. If you have any questions, just let me know or stop me whenever. So starting off, our responsibility under generally accepted auditing standards. So our primary responsibility is to provide an opinion on the fairness of presentation of the financial statements. So to do that, we review internal accounting controls. We use a risk-based audit approach. So that means we don't test every transaction. We use materiality calculations and test what we are required to. And then we express our opinions based on that test. So plan, scope, and timing, we communicate before, during, after. We're in contact as needed. Significant accounting policies are all outlined in Note 1 to the financial statements. There were no unusual transactions this year, and there is one new accounting standard that was for GASB 101 related to compensated absences. In the past, liabilities would only have been recorded Now GASB says, okay, if you can accrue it and people can use it, that really still is a liability to the district. So that was a big change there. So next slide. So continuing on, management judgments and accounting estimates. So they were all reasonable and supported. You have 5 of them for the useful lives of capital assets, the Wisconsin Retirement System pension liability, your OPEB, compensated absences, and then the fair value of your investments. All the disclosures are adequate, clear, and complete, and there were no disagreements with management. Next slide. We requested certain representations from management, and that is included in the management representation letter at the back of your executive summary. There's actually 2 of them this year because of the weird timing of the compliance supplement being issued by the federal government. So we had split the reports, so there was a separate financial statement audit and a separate single audit. But we compiled them all back together for issuance, so they're together but separate if you look at the page numbers. So it's a little weird this year. The compliance supplement is usually issued in June, and it didn't come out until the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So to meet with the DPI deadlines of December 15th, we split those and then we put them back together basically. So consultations with other accountants, there were none that we were aware of. No major issues noted. Difficulties, there were none. Management is very cooperative and helpful, and everyone and all the records we needed while we were here were all available. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements, there were no material journal entries posted as a result of the audit, and there was one uncorrected misstatement. That was for the implementation of that GASB standard I mentioned earlier. When they issue those new standards, they issue them as of the beginning of the year. So technically, because your amount of the difference between last year's ending and this year's beginning was material, it should have been, or no, it wasn't material, since it was over trivial materiality, it should have potentially been restated, but to restate the whole report for something that is actually immaterial, and it's only affected on the government-wide financial statements, so those are not reflective of your operations anyway.
So what will happen next year?
Next year, so this was just for the first year of implementation.
Okay.
So to flow through the change from last year's ending to this year's ending, what it should have been, we had to decrease expenses by $84,000 to flow that
Got it.
change through.
Okay,
So next year it'll just be a normal adjustment like it was in the past.
okay.
And that's only on the school district one, there's nothing on AVA for that one?
There's nothing on ABA for that one. Yes. So that is what I have on that one. Summary of audit results. So we issued an unmodified clean opinion. That's the best opinion we can give. We did have one finding in internal control over financial reporting, and that was a significant deficiency for CLA preparing the financial statements for you. That's a standard finding. We included probably 95% or more of our audits that we issue. We prepare most of those statements for our clients. So that's just saying we're preparing that as a service for you guys. Compliance issues, we didn't have any, and then the single audit I will discuss later. So fund balances. So just go through the funds here. So your general fund had an ending fund balance of $4.4 million. Your long-term capital improvement of $634,000. Capital projects had $8.7 million. Debt service had $635,000. Food service was $194,000. Community service was $177,000, and then your donations fund had about $267,000. So that's for your fund balances over the end of the year. Then on the single audit, so you were required to have a single audit because you received more than $750,000 in federal funds every year. This year we tested child nutrition, equalization aid, and per pupil aid. We had one finding related to the monthly claims prepared for food service. There was not someone other than the person submitting reviewing that. So someone took the counts of the meals served, and then it came to finance, but there wasn't, so there were 2 people involved, but there wasn't a second person to review that claim before it was submitted to the state.
Isn't that every year though?
So we don't test that program every year.
Okay,
So I'm sure it's been that way in the past, but we haven't noted it because at least in the 2 years I've been on the audit, we haven't tested requested it. So something just to keep in mind there, we would like to see a control over all of those reports. Not a huge issue, nothing was claimed incorrectly, we didn't find any errors, so just something to keep in mind there. No non-compliance was noted. And then some additional comments. So policies and procedures, we like to say this to everybody, just make sure you're keeping up with policies and procedures, updating as necessary to protect you guys from any issues that could come from that. And then uniform guidance. So effective October 1st, 2024, they increased the threshold from 750,000 to 1 million. So last year you guys were at like 800 and some thousand in federal funds. So if you stay under that 1 million, you will not need a single audit next year. So that'll be a change potentially. With that updated threshold, they updated the indirect cost rate and the equipment thresholds. They require some extra cybersecurity things, but that will only affect you if you receive over $1 million next year, or this year I guess now. And then I just have one quick slide on Algoma Venture Academy. So we issued an unmodified clean opinion for them. There was one finding, and that was for us preparing the financial statements. No non-compliance was noted. And that's all I had on that. Did anybody have any questions?
I just had one. I'm looking at this packet here, and
Yep.
maybe it's one for Amber or Jesse, but on our food service revenues and expenditures, there was a deficit of $60,054. Is that normal?
So that's partly why we increased the rates we charge for this year. Remember, we increased the a la carte meals and the adult meals. We also increased what we charge for milk. So we did have an excess of fund balance in the food service, so we did need to use the fund balance. But now we're starting to make those corrections to try and get it back to flat. It is pretty common for school districts to backfill their food service with transfers from Fund 10. Because we had such a high fund balance in the food service fund, we did not have to backfill. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep moving forward with small corrections to try and balance it out.
And also to add on, there was some equipment purchases as part of that as well from last year too, that we had made some upgrades to the kitchen, and we'll have some more this year too. So I suspect probably a higher amount for the expenditures again.
That's all I had. Very good.
Okay, well, if anything comes up, my contact information is on the last slide. And I think Amber's is probably there as well. So let us know if you come up with anything. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, your monthly budget update. Everything looks great. We received our equalization aid payment in December. We also have started to receive those special education aids. They've been coming in on a pretty regular basis. We are currently being reimbursed at the rate of 35%. If you remember, the state budget said they had a target of 42% for this year. We put in our budget 38%. Those first payments that come from the state are estimated low so that they don't put us in overpayment status. When we get to the end of the year and they do their June payment, they will look at what the actual is for the whole state, recalculate it all, and then we'll look at our actual amount. So we don't actually see what we're gonna get till June, which is kind of difficult because school year's over by then. But all the experts that keep an eye on that, Baird, and there's a couple other different groups, WASBO, they are all predicting around 38 to 38.25% is where we're gonna end up. So we should be in good shape there.
It's not 42, it's not good.
It's not 42, but
It's a good guess on the budget,
I'm
though.
happy with, for our budget purposes, so I would love to see it higher. But our only major invoice we paid out in December were for special education alternative placements. We've got 2 kiddos that are going to alternative And moving on to our other funds. Not a whole lot of movement in December. Fund 39 will receive all of its tax revenue in January and February. We actually received the January settlement, and Fund 39 is fully paid. So that's good. That's our non-referendum debt. We don't have any non-referendum. So that's the debt payments that are collected from the taxes that the voters voted on and approved. Fund 46 is our non-referendum capital fund. We do have on your agenda tonight to replace bus 7. It is the oldest bus in our fleet, and we were very fortunate to find a 1-year-old used bus, which dropped the price about $30,000 to $40,000. So that was a nice find. Nelson Bus Service has a client in Illinois that replaces their buses every single year. So every year they get brand new buses, which helps. Fund 49 is our voted referendum capital improvements, and we did a progress billing in December to Bayland. We did talk with Bayland about where they're at with their billing and when the next bills will be coming in, so that we could maybe invest just a few more of those dollars for just a little bit longer. Some of those 3, 6, 7-month CDs have some really good rates, so we worked that out with them, and we were able to do some additional CD purchases, which is great. That additional interest, we are hoping, well, we know we'll have enough additional interest earnings from that from the referendum dollars to complete a couple of old sections here at this building. And then that will bring all roofs within the district under 15 years old, which is one of the things that our insurance company looks for. If they're older than 15 years old, it really reduces the amount they'll pay us if there's any damage, so. And then it is the end of the quarter as of 12/31, so this is your update on our fund balances. 35% is kind of the target that I like to look for most of those funds. Our policy for the board is around 25%, but in this day and age, especially with special ed funding and all that, we need to have a little bit more. So I don't have it on here this round. I'm going to correct this for the next quarter. But if you look at Fund 27, you see that negative amount. That is because we don't get our sped funding aid payments until most of the year is done. And then we also don't transfer out of Fund 10 until we get to the end of the year, so we're transferring the actual amount we need. So you really kind of have to roll Fund 10 and 27 together to see where our fund balance is at. And when you put the two of them together, we're at 27%. So we're only a little bit over that target amount. So otherwise, we're doing really good. The food service needs to stay between 33 and 67%, depending on which DPI guidance you use. Most of them like to use the 33, so we're only a hair over it at this point. So that's right on target. And Fund 80 is now starting to build their fund balance. We want to have a little bit of a fund balance there because as equipment starts to break down, we need to replace it. It will come from fund balance. We don't collect enough to pay for it all in 1 year. So that fund balance should grow until we need to use it, and then it'll drop back down again. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, so last thing I have is the referendum financial update. As of 12/31, we had just shy of 5.6 million. We spent a little over 1.5 million. We earned just under 20 grand in interest. So we ended December with a little over $4 million. This is all that voter approved debt that we issued in July of 24. And it all needs to be spent by July of 27, which we are rolling right along. You can see them all start to drop.
Any questions? Any questions for you?
All right. State statute requires school boards to look at open enrollment seats for the following school year in January. So I put together projected enrollment numbers for each grade level. You can see this is the elementary school that you have on the screen here in front of you. You can see regular education in that first column, and then the middle column is projected for special education seats, and then the last column is projected for speech only students that receive speech and language services only. So, as a board, it's my responsibility to present you the numbers and then ask for you to take a vote later on tonight on what we will be leaving open for open enrollment and what we need to close based off of these numbers. So, my recommendation to the board would be to close regular education 5th grade for next year. Given that we're at 47, that's a little bit higher than you can see the other grades, and meeting the staffing needs that we have at that grade level. Also closing special education open enrollment for grades 5 and 6. Those numbers are again extremely high, and from a staffing need perspective, it would be in the best interest for the district not to allow more into the district. For our middle school and high school, you can see again our projected enrollment for regular education, special ed, and then we have no speech and language by the time they usually get up to the middle school and high school. We are not recommending closing any of the grade levels for regular ed or special ed for next year. And then the last slide I have is for Algoma Venture Academy, AVA. They're considered a separate school in the district, so we need to present their numbers out separately. So projected based off of the current enrollments this year, you can see the number of seats that we'll have. We have 8, I believe, seniors this year that are graduating. So we don't know incoming 7th graders and how many families are gonna take which pathway, so that is why it's blank up there for that, so. And then just some language, again, these are just recommendations. That we recommend to close open enrollment for the 26-27 school year for regular education seats in grade 5, and that's based on class size ranges and faculty student ratio ranges. All other grade level regular education seats through open enrollment will remain open. Also recommending to close open enrollment for the 26-27 school year for special education seats in grades 5 and 6 based on class size ranges and faculty student ratio ranges. All other grade level special education seats through open enrollment would remain open. And then for Algoma Venture Academy, it will be recommendation to accept open enrollment for the 26-27 school year for regular and special education seats in grades 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 for AVA. And that's based on class size ranges and faculty student ratio ranges. So specific language I need to use per state statute, so that's why it's worded that way. So.
Can you refresh my memory? That current 4th grade class we closed last year for regular and special, right?
Correct. So we were closed.
The current 5th grade is closed for both special ed and gen ed.
Okay, so that's the 6th grade for this.
Correct, yeah. So we are opening that back up for regular ed for 6th grade, but looking at now closing what would be our current 4th graders for regular ed. I believe last year we also had special education closed for 10th and 11th grade, I believe.
There's something in high school, yeah.
But with some staffing adjustments that we've made and some students moving in and out of the district, we feel as though we can finish by opening those back up. So. Any questions? No. All right. That is all I have.
Okay, great. We can move on now to the Building and Department Administrator Report by Ms. Katie Serby, the elementary school principal. You guys are up.
All right, I'll start first. There is one thing I wanted to mention that was not published on the agenda, just a quick celebration. We were not able to make it public until Friday, but you probably have heard.
I really liked it.
We have a teacher who happens to also be here who has been named a Golden Apple Educator of Distinction for 2026. So Emily Krieger. So as soon as she's in the running for a Golden Apple Award, we should know more in February. I'm not really sure what the timeline is, but we're just excited. And it's a very well-deserved recognition.
When's the last time a teacher in Algoma district has won a Golden Apple? You know?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. We've had a couple of teachers
what do we need to do to get that golden apple?
All right.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, what do we need to do? What do you need? How many letters of recommendation?
I would just add to Ms. Krieger.
We are new to that program, right?
Well, we were in it, and then we, for many years, did not participate in it, and then joined back in, for like 7 years ago, maybe? Yeah.
I learned today that Ms. Krieger is one of 2 teachers only in the county that have moved on to this level, so it is a great honor, so.
It's a great celebration.
It's been a fun experience. Very weird, but fun.
So stay tuned.
Yes.
Yeah.
For more good news. I am going to share our mid-year AGR data first, and then I'll turn it over to the teachers to present on our new ELA curriculum and how it's been going. So in front of you, I have the mid-year AGR report. I highlighted the mid-year data in blue so that you can see where our current data shows. We did adjust our assessment windows at the elementary school this year, just to align to Act 20 and the days that we're required to have between start of the school year and between testing dates. So we tested in December as opposed to January like we have historically done. But you can kind of see where we're at in both reading and in math. So in reading, 33% of kindergartners have a reading plan. In first grade, 21% have a reading plan. In second grade, 33% have a reading plan. And in third grade, 36% have a reading plan. Overall, students in grades K through 3, we have 31% who, after our mid-year assessments, do have a reading plan. So those students are students that fall below the 25th percentile on the oral reading fluency component of the Ames-Webb assessment. So it's not necessarily looking at their overall composite score, it's specifically that oral reading fluency component, which again is required by Act 20, that we use that as our indicator. And then taking a look at math, we have 21% of kindergartners that fall below the 25th percentile. We have 24% that fall below the 25th percentile in first grade. In second grade, we have 33% that fall below the 25th percentile. Third grade, we have 26 that fall below. And then total K3 in math, we have 26%. So we're kind of trending in a neutral stance. One thing that we're learning is just how the benchmarks change. There were some adjustments to that this school year, if you recall from last school year, just with Act 20 and the Ames-Webb assessment, and that has changed a little bit, so we're kind of just trusting the process with our new curriculum. All of the students that fall below the 25th percentile are receiving some type of intervention, whether that be from an interventionist, from the reading specialist, from their special education case manager. And then we also are targeting students that are kind of in that gray area range, so 35% to 25%. A lot of times the teachers are working with those students 5 days a week in an intervention group as well. So we're really targeting our focus this year and using the data, but that's where we stand, and we'll see kind of how that plays out at the end of the year in May. So any questions on that?
How much weight do you put into the change of the curriculum for the increase?
Well, that's a great question, and I feel like it's too soon to tell. So in addition to like our screener data, there's a whole bunch of other assessments that we're collecting data on. So teachers are gathering data on all of the end of unit assessments and looking at the components there. So we have a big spreadsheet that's been looking at that. Any student that's receiving an intervention, we're progress monitoring on a weekly basis. So we're just kind of gathering as much as we can to take a look at it. I don't know, I feel like it's too soon to make any like correlations. One thing I can say for certain, especially at the kindergarten level, is that the new curriculum takes a different approach approach to teaching letters, where typically what we have done is taught the letter names starting as early as 4K. The new curriculum like shifts that a little bit, where like mid-year kindergarten, where the students are really learning the letter names. However, when they're assessed before they learn it, there's so many letters that they need to know, but they haven't taught that. So that's something that we're kind of working on the back end, where we're deciding, you know, okay, we're going to teach these letter names, even though the new curriculum isn't until that midpoint. So there's little tweaks like that that we're still kind of sifting through and making some decisions on.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see, because
Yeah.
in one of the sessions that I had at the school board conference, they talked specifically about that, is that, you know, you can't be alarmed when you change
Yes.
curriculum, that you see a little bit of a
Yeah.
dip
Yeah.
in, you know, your numbers, because it's a whole new, it's new for the teachers, it's new for the students, and it's changing everything. So it'd be interesting to see how the end of the year plays out,
Yeah.
these percentages.
For sure. And when we move into the next portion of my report and the teachers are presenting, you'll be able to see some student work examples, which we've also been collecting to show some of that visible growth as well. So hopefully that is reflected.
I have a question.
Mhm.
With the reading plans, so this, what's it called, the Ames Web Plus?
Yep.
It's one screener. What are other things that you use, and are you seeing that the screener, maybe they're just not good test takers, but they still can perform and read and do it, maybe they're shy? I mean, are you looking at the whole child and not just one component of it?
Yeah, so if a student is flagged on that oral reading fluency component on the Ames Web, then there's, I think it's like 8 to 10 diagnostic assessments on specific skills that the students are tested on. So that helps figure out, you know, what kind of intervention they need, where they need support. Is it sounds? Is it blending? Is it, it just kind of digs deeper into their area of need, which then is how they get the support that they need. However, for the purpose of Act 20, if they're flagged on that oral reading fluency, doesn't matter how well they do on all of the other diagnostics, they still have to, have a reading plan until they meet that benchmark in the oral reading fluency score, so. Thanks. Okay, I know you're dying to probably hear.
Oh, absolutely.
So just a quick, I just wanted to give a quick recap and then I will turn it over to them. We have officially, we've just hit the ground running. We have fully implemented the CKLA curriculum. One thing to note is that, so Amplify CKLA is for K through 5th grade, and then 6th grade uses something called Amplify ELA, which is what 7th and 8th grade Angela Weber is using as well. So Nina is using Amplify ELA, but it is all very much aligned. So we have really dove into the curriculum this year. We've been working to support the teachers, and we're kind of learning about it along the way. We are still working with Charlotte Meyer from CISA 7. She's been on site a couple of times doing walkthroughs, providing her feedback. We have our interventionists, reading team. They have been doing some pop-ins and observations. We provided the opportunity for teachers who did not get the chance to visit the school district in Reedsville to observe CKLA lessons. We provided our teachers who didn't get to do that the chance to do that. We've recently dove into what we're calling Mary Poppins. So the teachers have been visiting each other's classrooms and watching each other teach lessons, so they can kind of see, you know, how it's building on different grade levels. Coming up in February, we have a trainer, coach from the Amplified curriculum who is coming on site to do some coaching as well. And then we recently we launched a middle school lit team because we're finding that it's connected, but it's not totally connected to K-5. So for the purpose of making it meaningful and relevant to those involved, we dove into that as well. Charla is coming on our professional development day in February, so we're just rolling right along. But I wanted to turn it over to them. They've provided you with some student work samples. They're going to talk a little bit about, I asked that they share a success success that they've seen with their students, maybe a challenge or something that they're kind of working through, and then if they just wanted to highlight some of that student work, so you can see the growth, the visible growth that we're seeing every day, so. I don't know, Emily, if you
I
want to
can
start.
start, yeah, I've got the kindergarten on top, so I'll go. This is kind of a snapshot of what we pretty much do every day. It's called chaining, taking a very simple CBC word, changing a sound, basically giving some idea of how you can solve words that are similar spelled and how words all belong in little parts. I shared this one because it's really crazy to think that in the first 2 months of school we were doing line segments. We were making diagonal lines, swirls. That was like the first through October. That's what we were doing, breaking crayons and writing with little crayons to hold it the right way. And now we're looking at like forming letters, looking at where they are spatially. Under the like called dirt letters or up to the top. So that's kind of where we've been working with kindergarten. Letter sounds, forming them, and now we're just starting to learn letter names right now. And I guess one of the challenges that we've had, it's been really hard to give up some of the old that we've done because the curriculum is very, I mean, it's like day to day. You miss a day and we're like, oh my gosh, what lesson are you on? We had a Halloween party. So things like that, it feels like a little bit overwhelming at times, but also it's really nice to have this like concrete team that we're doing the same thing every day. I can hear them down the hall playing the same song, so that's been really great that we're so in sync and so strong as a team.
So when they're doing the spelling, are you using, this is the old AVCO, that's how I taught it. So it's got the audio, the visual, the kinesthetic, and the oral. Are they talking through it as well?
It's a lot of like blending, segmenting, yep, almost everything. I mean, this is like a daily, it's very routine.
Absolutely,
The
they
program
love
is
it.
incredibly routine.
So predictable and they love it.
And I actually really love it too. Like, they sit down on the carpet and they're like, I can. Like, I haven't even started yet. Like, you're right.
I think the other thing to point out about this is the amount of stamina I feel like this requires and time. Because I think there's 10 words? 10 words.
Yeah, they're
total.
cruising
So
through this in about 15 minutes now, but it was like
Super
40 at
impressive.
the beginning of the year to
Yeah.
get through this.
I'm impressed by the penmanship.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to
Better
ask
than
about.
mine.
I remember the worm line and the blah, is that all gone now? Because none of these handwriting sheets have that.
It is all gone, and we've actually, as a kindergarten team, talked about that because there really isn't any place of putting letters, so we've kind of brought it back. And so now this, after the new year, like around December, we decided we were really gonna focus on dirt line, skyline, plain line, to give them a place to be putting their letters. Yep. So yeah, we've been focusing on it a lot.
I don't know, when did that come on?
The dirt line, skyline, yeah, that was,
What is that?
dirt line, oh, yeah.
I was trained in middle school, high school.
That was all foundations, so like, dirt line is like on, like a G is a dirt letter,
Oh,
an F or a T is a skyline.
they come to me with those skills, so thank you.
Yeah, we try hard. Yep,
All right, so the next few pages in the packet are some of the first grade samples of work. So you can see how big of a jump it goes from Emily's kindergarten, just writing a few words to full sentences. One thing I've noticed a lot in this curriculum is how even students, not only are they expected to write in complete sentences, which is a huge adjustment from what we were used to in the past, but I also notice them speaking in a lot more complete sentences, like when we're having discussions, they're wording their answers in complete sentences now, which is cool to see. For like these pages that you're seeing here, we read a decodable text that goes along with some of the sounds and spellings we've been practicing. So I noticed that students are really confident because they're able to read the books. So it's not like you're putting a book in front of them that they have no idea how to read. So even students that maybe are a little bit lower reading wise or struggling with a few things are able to participate and answer the questions really well. The bug last one that you see is an earlier one, and then if you look through the you can just see some of the sentences, how much longer they've got. We started using because and giving reasoning in our sentences as well, which is pretty impressive. Because is actually one of our spelling words already, one of our tricky words that we've been practicing, so it's awesome to see see some of these words we're learning to spell on our newest spelling test this week, all the days of the week already, so lots of good things happening. I would just agree with Emily with some of the challenges, just kind of getting away from some of the things we've done in the past. I think things will get easier as we go. Once students have been doing things from kindergarten on, we'll start to see some of those routines come in a little bit more easily, but overall, we're really liking the curriculum in first grade.
How are you getting it, I'm sorry, how are you getting them to write in full sentences? Like, I mean, that's not a fragment, that's a
No.
complete sentence.
Yeah, it's a full sentence. At the beginning of the year, we did a lot of scaffolding and doing it as a class. Now, they've kind of become like partners. We do partner work a lot, but otherwise they're pretty independent now. So they can look back in their books, and that helps them a lot. On some of the more recent pages, you'll see they need to put a page number now to their answer where they're finding it. So I think that helps them to use that tool as.
That's not part of the curriculum, that's something you guys.
No, that's the curriculum requires
Okay.
that now in this unit. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, cause
Yep.
do they give it like a sentence starter so they know how to, cause I'm seeing they're doing everything that you're supposed to do, take.
Yeah, they
From the
actually
sentence,
are.
good question.
Just using the book to look back on gives them a lot of those sentence starters, but otherwise nothing is provided to them besides just the questions on the sheet.
So I was gonna ask about the book. Is that making your life easier with not having papers? Are those going back in students' desks and getting mangled? Do you collect them? How are you guys handling
I
the
love
workbooks?
the books, actually, having them all. I got a good idea from the kindergarten teachers. At first, we were leaving a lot of our pages in there, but the kindergarten teacher said they were ripping every page out, and then I just collect them, or some they take home. But otherwise, they were like having to look back for page numbers, which just took a while. So now, when they open it up, they're to the next page we have to do. So that's been helping out a lot. But the kids love getting to have their own book in their desk, and they love having their own little decodable reader, and they get to rip their pages out. And look how perfect I ripped my page out. But yeah, they really enjoy it. I enjoy having the books. It's been really nice to have.
Bless you, I couldn't-
Or when they bring the whole book home to show you.
I miss those days, I really do. Can I hang this on my fridge just so I have some nostalgia?
We can send you things.
Yeah, that'd be great,
Okay.
that'd be great.
We'll send you. Well, I'm fourth grade, I'm Tammy, and I just want to say I think we made the right choice of this program. I've been here for many years. I have seen through Lucy and all the process for many years of Lucy Hawkins, but I cannot tell you how much growth I've seen in the students since the beginning of the year in fourth grade until now. I also can speak on behalf of third grade. Jenna and I talk a lot. We have seen so much growth. It's just unbelievable. My door is always open. I invite Katie and Danielle all the time. I invite everybody to come in. The kids are always willing to share what they're doing. They get so excited. Right now, we're ending our unit called Eureka. Actually, I should probably scream it to you, but I will not because it's usually screamed multiple times throughout the day. But it's just amazing. And I could talk for hours, so you guys are gonna have to tell me to shut up, okay? But it's phenomenal. This is a sample of the poetry book that we just finished this last unit. The kids dive extremely deep into poetry, learning about the author, that they read about themselves, how to write various types of poetry, how to use similes, metaphors, extended metaphors. Onomatopoeia, I could go on and on and on with figurative language, what they all learned. But the greatest thing is just listening to them stand up in front of the room, because we all know public speaking is not very easily to do. And see the fourth graders stand behind a podium in my room, all proud to read their poetry, which is amazing to listen to, and how clear they speak, and the amount of eye contact that they give. Even this next unit that we're ending, they learned the whole process of pitching their ideas, they called it, and stating their viewpoints. To stand up now and be even more confident, it's just phenomenal. We had a couple of fourth graders that, and now they're actually talking like this, and so they can't wait to share. It's just amazing. We also started cursive the past 2 weeks, and the kids love it. They cannot wait to come in my room at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and write in cursive. It's the best thing ever. The best thing they show me is their name. We're getting better. But they're amazing how to write in cursive, and they're just phenomenal. Their typing skills, as you see, we do a lot of writing in these tiny little books, and learning how to write even smaller than the lines of the first grade. They've learned to write in small little spaces, which is amazing.
the hardest struggle, we would probably all say, is it's just a transition. This is new to them, and I just, like I said, keep going, keep trying. Let's just keep trying to it, and then don't let me down. So they keep going as much as they can. So I'm very impressed. Thank you for letting us have it, by the way. There's my spiel. Go
Now
for
it's
it.
my turn?
You got it.
Well, I'm Nita, I teach 6th grade, and we take a huge leap from CKLA to Amplify ELA. And even just looking at what we do, and then if you flip the page and it's just the poems, there's a significant difference in the middle school curriculum compared to the elementary curriculum. But I can safely say me and my coworker, Lindsay Harmon, love this curriculum. It's been difficult for the last, I've been here in this position for 10 years, and my first year was the first full implementation of Lucy Calkins. And it was also my first year in the elementary world because I was trained in middle and high school history. So it was a big difference, and this is what we do, right? But over the years, we saw huge deficits in their writing and reading skills, a lot of inventive spelling. We noticed kids' handwriting was very poor. So when they get up to us, it's really hard to fix those problems when they're set in their ways. And we've heard from specialists too that, well, this is kind of where they are now. So I'm really excited to see, because looking at this stuff, I can see that we do that in 6th grade, where these examples are from Unit 1, and it's the same student. This student is general education, but they are typically a little bit lower. And the progress that they made from Unit 1 essay to Unit 2 essay was incredible. Using evidence from text, quoting it pretty correctly. The evidence, the explaining the evidence, writing a claim, reasoning has been really awesome. They do this every single day. They don't write a full essay every day, but every day is the same. They do a vocab app. They do some sort of reading. They have something we call a write. So every day they are picking a claim. So why does it do this? And give me 2 reasons why. And then at the end of the unit, they have an assessment, and they're also writing an essay. And that makes them a little nervous, but they practice it every single day. And when we tell them that, then they gain that confidence. Like, you're doing this. You're building a claim. You're giving me reasons why. You're finding that evidence. So the growth that I have seen is incredible. Right now, we're doing research essays on like the history of chocolate, which they find really interesting. So we're looking at reputable sources. So they learn like .gov, .edu is more reputable than like a .net or a .com, and then digging into those websites deeper, which is really nice right now because there's so many things on the internet, and probably 99% of them they should not be looking at. So that's really awesome. Using like MLA formatting for citations is really awesome too. The challenge I would say is trusting the process, because if I see students who aren't quite getting it or struggling with like the mechanics of writing, I feel like I need to stop and do a little bit of reteaching or give them that information, because I know this is the first time they're getting this curriculum and they might not have gotten that yet. So giving myself grace to stop and maybe give them a little bit of teaching that they might not have gotten, not because the teachers aren't great, but because their curriculum might have been lacking in the past is kind of what I'm looking at too.
That kind of leads into my question. So the results that Katie gave us earlier, how are those kids reacting to this new curriculum? Are you seeing gains with them? And that's what I was trying to get at with my question. It's hard because you can see the gains, but they may not be doing it on that test.
Yeah,
And I think it's fluid. The process is so fluid. Like, I had some kids that were receiving a reading plan for Q1, and then when we did our winter assessments, 2 were out of it, and a new one was in it. So like, it's kind of a fluid depending on what they're assessing, I guess. Because the winter one and the fall one are different, where it gets a little more rigorous. But yeah, I would say it's fluid and I see growth. And not that it's not growth, but just flagging kids that maybe weren't flagged before because they kind of were just coasting by.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these look like
Right.
next year, right?
Next
with
year.
the next grade.
Right.
The other thing I'll add is I think they all kind of touched on some other really key fundamental skills that this new curriculum is developing, like oral language. So I know Alexa said students are talking in complete sentences. Well, research is showing that, you know, the way a student speaks is transferred into how they write. And we know that we've seen a huge, it's just been a huge deficit in students for many years, that writing component. So I think that's huge. Handwriting, anywhere from the lines to letter formation to cursive, then transferring that to typing. I mean, I just think some of those things are huge. Research skills, citing,
Vocabulary.
citing sources as early as first grade, you know, identifying a page number where they can find text evidence. So some of those key skills, I feel really confident that those, while they might not be showing up on the ACEF or reading fluency screener at this point, is still really setting students up for success in the future, for sure.
I have 2 more questions, then I'll be done. How are parents responding to this? How are your parent-teacher conferences? Because I hear you saying you're seeing the kids grow, so the kids have got to be going home and going, Mom, I can do this, and Dad, come and see. How are the parents responding?
I know from my parent-teacher conferences, the parents said how engaged their students were in the content, like coming home and having conversations about the human body and, you know, the esophagus we learned about and things like that. Like coming home and having conversations about things that they would have never known before, and just how excited they are to learn. I think everything is just so much more engaging. Like the kids look forward to it, and the parents have noted that too, which is really exciting.
I agree, yeah. I have some daily small group helpers that come, and I kind of shifted some things around, and so now they're part of this word chaining, and yeah, they're like, wow, this is not what kindergarten used to be, or this is so cool, because it's just different.
Yeah.
The kids are more engaged, like they said, but I've had projects that they had to just draw pictures, and now they're actually making them and bringing them to school. Parents are just blowing out of the water, basically, by how much their kids are willing to want to learn more and more, and they're remembering so much more.
Oh.
Do you remember what we learned in the first unit? And I was like, wow, you guys actually remember. I mean, when we taught Lucy, I don't remember saying, do you remember what we learned in the very first unit? Versus now they're like, do you remember when we learned about the ancient times? I'm like, yes, I do remember. But it's so amazing
Sure.
just to see that.
What are you seeing in the middle school? You got the harder group.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're going home super excited.
Just say they are.
It's the fine line between they are obviously engaged in class. We have a lot of fun in class, but then they are like, who picked Amplify? Well, we did. We picked Amplify. So it's, you know, that 12-year-old age where they really are actively engaged and they're enjoying what they're talking about and learning about. But it's hard. It's a difficult curriculum for these 6th graders. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the next 3 or 4 years, because the skills that Alexa's working on with literally 1st graders are citing their sources right now by picking the page. And I'm doing that in 6th grade, and it's gonna make it so much easier on my 6th graders when 1st graders already have those skills. So I'm very excited about that. But I think parents might struggle with it too, because ours is completely on the computer. So every day, and we do have workbooks and stuff, but it just works easier for us when you're getting into those middle school grades to transition to a computer. So I'll get messages from parents asking about where to find certain things, because it is a little clunky and it's hard to navigate. But I think the kids are engaged. They just, you know, won't tell you that they're engaged. They won't. They'll tell you they like the content, or, you know, like, oh, it's really interesting to learn about the history of chocolate, and we're getting ready to do a debate on whether they should put chocolate in school lunches. So I think they'll really enjoy that. But if you ask them if they like Amplify, it probably won't be the answer that you want.
that leads into my next question. As a former high school teacher, we always hoped you guys would give us this base. So how are you sharing it out with the other teachers in the district so that they know, here's what you can expect, here's what's coming to you, here's what I'm doing in kindergarten, I'm doing in first grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade, here's what you can expect. Are you guys having an open house and people can come in and see your kids' work? Just in the district, just what are you gonna do? How are we gonna share that?
Well, actually, we were just kind of talking about that a little bit before the meeting about, because we're kind of doing the pop-ins, like a grade above or below, but I was just saying, like, I'd like to go and just see sixth grade and just see what it's like compared to first grade. So
Right.
we don't have like a set idea, but definitely something that we were also kind of thinking about.
Well, good, keep
And
us posted.
That's a good point too, because I know in the past when we've met like with at a district level, a few years ago, I think we had all teachers in the library at one point, and I remember Steve Schmeling saying like, they get to us and they don't like reading anymore. And that's so sad and depressing. And that has stuck with me because like as a lover of reading, like that's what we want to encourage them. We don't want to pull that away from them. And I think Lucy did that. I don't think they made it fun to read. So explaining that to the upper grades is really important. And I think you bring up a good point because I hadn't really thought about that, but I think in the coming years they'll recognize the changes. But I think it's good to, get them excited about what
We
they're
gotta
gonna see.
celebrate. I mean,
Yeah.
this is great. Well, thank you for sharing with us. This is a wonderful celebration, and I think everyone needs to hear it. And you need to scaffold and show each other what you're doing. It's not scary. Yes, it's hard and it's new, but it's fun. And there's growth. I mean, we can see it.
Yeah. I had a fear like last year when we went to visit some of the schools and the students, I asked the kids, how do you know if you're gonna bring your homework? What we just do. And that was like a fear of mine because in the past, students in fourth grade and even third grade, we always sat and discussed how do we get kids to bring their work back and take pride in their work. This year, I probably can count on 3 fingers how many times something was missing. And that is just unbelievable to me. They even, just to give them their little poetry book to take home, because you're like, oh, please, I need that book for tomorrow's lesson, because you need that little book. And they would bring it back. I was like, nobody forgot it. Out of 47 kids that would take it home, nobody forgot it. And to have that, it's just amazing.
That's a huge success.
I mean,
that
I
is
was like,
huge.
whoa.
Yeah, this has opened up a lot of conversations similar to that, like even a homework conversation of like, what are we expecting from our kids? What kindergarten expects this, and then they go to first grade and there's no homework, and then second grade there's 3 pages a night, and parents are like, what are we supposed to do? What are we not? Do you have homework? The kid's like, I don't know. So that was a really good conversation too of like, what is required and what is up to teachers and what should we be in sync with?
And it makes me wonder if it's also building that soft skill of intrinsic motivation, which is nearly impossible to teach. I noticed that too, where they want me to grade it before the end of the day to make corrections, because we allow corrections because it's such a hard curriculum and it's the first year. So they want me to look at it before they leave so they can make corrections because they want to do better. And building that into them through the curriculum when it's not even written anywhere in the standards is really neat to see.
I think it's a reminder to us too to maintain those high expectations. Like, okay, they can bring in their stuff.
Yep.
If it's, we're making it engaging, we're giving them these opportunities to stretch their thinking and they're enjoying it. They can do this.
So Chromebooks go home with kids at your age or not yet?
6th grade, yes, they have the opportunity to bring them home. We have some rules around that too. The kids put their name on my whiteboard. They are not allowed to bring it home just to bring it home. They need to justify why they're bringing it home. But our 6th graders have reading homework every single night. So if they're not getting it done in reading class, or we have this time called ALL, so study hall at the end of the day with Mrs. Harmon and Miss Ness. If they're not getting it done then they have the opportunity to take it home. But also, if they're being irresponsible with it at home, then they have to make sure they get it done, the homework done at school, because then they're not allowed to take it because we simply can't trust them.
I got a question, a couple of comments, and a request. And I had to write them down because President Johnson spent a lot of time asking you guys stuff. You can tell she was a former educator.
This is yours.
On the sixth grade, so unit 1 to unit 2, clearly a huge, huge difference. How many units are in there in a school year?
We were just looking at that. I think there are 8,
Oh, really?
and we are in, maybe 7, and we are in unit 3.
Wow.
We were just talking about
So
our.
they're gonna write full novels by the end of the
I hope
8th.
so.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, they're doing really great work. I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, I'm super excited, as President Johnson mentioned, with seeing the scores. I think you hit a couple points, the confidence and excitement that your students are showing, I think speaks volumes. I think when students, or anybody for that matter, when they're in a positive mood, they're excited, they're enjoying what they're learning, it's easier to learn, and it keeps them moving along. So that's outstanding. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for embracing the curriculum and doing what you're doing. I think I could speak for all of us unless somebody else wants to chime in. These are amazing stories, and to see the difference it's making. And my request is, I personally would love to have a student come here and read a poem, or read an essay, or something of that matter. I think that would be exceptional.
The month.
Yeah, to have them come and present to a board meeting.
Let us know when you have a
I think
fourth
that'd be
grader
great.
ready.
I probably could have you 47 students in about.
That'll be worth it. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
There you go.
I guess the one thing that I have is these are nice, but really doesn't mean anything until you get a couple of years in, because you have nothing to go off of. This is just a piece of paper. I mean,
It's our baseline.
it is, but a baseline of really nothing at this point. So it'll be nice to see next year, but so.
I'll just want to end with.
But even just from listening from all of you talking, every class is just, you know what I mean, what you saw. And I know just kindergarten, our son, that just, total night and day difference. So.
I had a parent at the beginning of the year concerned because their child did not like to read. Okay? And this child struggles greatly. And they said they had to fight and fight and fight. By parent-teacher conference, they said they no longer fight with this child to read. This child loves to read and wants to read all the time. And just hearing that is just amazing. And if you're free tomorrow and he gets to present his new and improved invention of this little robot that cleans the corners of every room so there won't be spotless, and he actually made it. Not only did he draw it, he made it. And it's in my room, and it's kind of cool. But he came up with it, and to see the light like that is just phenomenal. Would I have saw that with Lucy over the years? No. So it's just in this short amount of time, just to see that growth. I can't wait to have the kids that Emily has in 4th grade to see what the growth is then.
No retiring, here's Deb.
And the kids are chit-chatting about it because I knew you were doing inventions and stuff, like, oh, when I'm in 4th grade, I think I'm gonna do this because it did this. And so, yeah, it's traveling, making a little buzz.
Love it.
I think one other thing, don't lose your enthusiasm, because I think that's a huge portion of why this is being successful, is the enthusiasm that you have for the curriculum that's pouring in to your students. So don't lose that, because that's huge.
My coworker Lindsay and I actually, so we're learning about fair trade chocolate right now, and like what non-fair trade cocoa bean farmers use.
Let me know when you say
We actually bought fair trade chocolate for our students the other day, and they got a huge kick out of that. So they're writing letters to candy shop owners right now on why they should sell fair trade.
Someone's invited us to come
I
try
know,
this
I
chocolate.
know.
And you're telling us now?
But it's little stuff like that, and our
That's
first
the group
unit
we
was
want.
about like Roald Dahl and his like childhood stories and how all these little anecdotes from his life turned into Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and BFG and witches and stuff. So for Christmas I got them like Gobstoppers and all like Willy Wonka candy. So just making those connections is really nice for them too.
So pretty soon we're gonna have to approve a Willy Wonka tour, field trip.
Hershey chocolate.
Hershey
factory.
chocolate.
And I just wanted to add one final comment, is that we've talked about students, but clearly you can see that there's been a ton of work on the part of the teachers to keep this in motion. Kicking it off, I mean, everything starting from last year when we started our entire curriculum review process, to selecting it, to piloting it, to here we are implementing it. We've made it through a semester. It's a ton of work and a ton of time. And I think everyone's stretched in different capacities and in different ways. So I think the teachers deserve that recognition and
Absolutely.
I do think we should bring the book it program back too.
Yeah.
Like a free pizza,
Yeah.
30 books in a year.
Well, $5 a month was the lowest.
There you go. So they're doing that right now?
Still get your bacon,
Oh,
or
yeah.
still get gone?
The button and you had to put it.
Yep, yep.
Still get your bacon, or do you take a?
I mean, I could.
There you go. Slice it in.
flavorful.
We can do that internally, right, as a district.
Thank you guys for coming. This
Yeah.
is a longer
Thank you.
meeting than
Yeah.
normal, but we're so happy you could stick around and share so much with
You're
us.
welcome to stay as we move into committee reports.
I have
You gotta prepare for tomorrow.
Oh, I don't know.
Skip bedtime.
Just a bit.
All right, we have the charter school committee meeting from December 22nd. Can you share with us, Mr. Jeremy?
Yeah, we had our meeting and we discussed proposal with
Thank
the
you.
AVA governance board to extend the existing AVA contract for 1 year, which we'll be presenting to them in our next meeting, just to give us a lot of time to discuss a future contract long-term. So that will be brought to them, I believe, next week at our next committee meeting.
Thank you. Next up is the Buildings, Ground, and Transportation Committee meeting from January 6th.
That's me.
Take it away, Lenny.
Well, first of all, we reviewed some quotes for 3 different buses. One was a new one, and one was a used one, and one was a 82-seat bus. Ultimately, we decided to go with the $121,000 bus, which made the most sense. We also reviewed 2 quotes for repairing the sections of roof that need repair. We had 3 different quotes there. The 2 that you see in your packet are the 2 that we approved for the board to look at or to approve tonight. The other 2, one was $554,000 and the third one was $650,000. So we obviously went with one that had done work for us before and was quite a bit cheaper. The Elin Electric was $6,750 to remove these solar panels. Then we reviewed some kitchen equipment. There was a couple quotes for that. We ended up going with the cheaper of the 2, which I think they have done some work with us before. And then we also reviewed some quotes for the front entrances, but that was just to review them to see where they were at, and I think we're waiting for a couple other quotes to come in. So
Are we replacing the solar panels, or?
just removing them, putting them back on.
Okay, that's,
For the roof repair.
We have to remove them to repair the roof, and then they'll be reinstalled.
that would make sense.
So
Any other questions?
that's what I got.
Okay, thank you. And again, we have another charter school committee meeting from January 13th.
Did I get my meetings mixed up?
Yep.
Oh,
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I did. My bad.
that's okay, but
I was
that's,
reading the notes from the links that Jesse sent, and I had are they in here? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so the first brief that I read was from the 13th meeting. Let me go back.
and of course,
That December 22nd. Yeah, that meeting, we were just discussing, essentially our proposal to the governance board about extending that, that contract for 1 year. So essentially both meetings were about the same thing.
And we will be meeting again
Fifth?
February
Third.
3rd to kind of go over the 1-year contract.
Yeah, and then we're looking at meeting every month at the very least with the governance board to discuss the extended contract.
All right, any other questions? We can move on to new business. We have a lot of them. Okay, 13.1, I would entertain a motion to recommend to approve closing open enrollment for the 2026-2027 school year for regular education and special education in grade 5 and special education in grade 6 based on class size ranges and faculty-student ratio ranges.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jeremy, seconded by Chrissy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to recommend to approve the 2026-27 academic and career planning course description handbook for Algoma Middle High School.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Lonnie. Discussion, Mr. Brinkman?
Yeah, so, Ms. Schmidt, Courtney Schmidt, our school counselor for the middle school and high school, sent me some talking points that I just kind of want to go over with the board and for the public to know as well, regarding some changes, that are outlined in the career handbook, or the academic and career planning course handbook for next year. So the Higher Learning Commission, which is known as HLC, is imposing some new guidelines for college courses for next year. Requirements for what the instructors and our high school teachers need to have in order to be able to teach these courses. So that's gonna directly impact our social studies department. Alex Van Lannen, who was one of our teachers at the high school, is no longer gonna be able to teach college or transcribed credit courses for sociology and psychology. He is, however, going to revamp that and to teach 2 courses, Intro to Social Services, as well as a money psychology course. He would fall under those categories. Another change would be our tech ed department. Mr. Matthews is going to be doing 2 NWTC transcribed courses that would teach skills for our students in welding. So they'll earn a level 1 Sense certification credential by the end of the course. And then we're also going to be using CTE incentive grant dollars that's worth about $700 to $1,000 per student to reimburse some of those costs that will be added on for families. Our business education with Ms. Bauman is going to continue to be tweaked. We're going to be offering NWTC courses that align with their associate's degree in business management. So students that complete most or all of the business ed transcribed credits or courses would finish with 17 college credits out of the 64 that would be required for the degree. Our science department will be undergoing a few changes. Higher level coursework to be passed along to Mr. Robinson. He's in the process of obtaining his master's degree, so he'll be able to teach UWGB level coursework in chemistry, biology, and or physics. And then AP Environmental Science will be replaced by NWTC's transcribed version of that course, and no longer will require the AP exam to be given to our students. Continue to work on youth apprenticeships and increasing those numbers. We've seen those numbers basically double year after year. We currently have 25 seniors who are successfully placed in youth apprenticeships in the area, as well as 11 juniors right now. And then we are also want to highlight a manufacturing tour day on March 24th, where our youth apprenticeship coach will be working with some of our staff and getting kids into a career and job fair that focuses specifically on manufacturing. We also have a Door County Job Fair coming up. The Reality Store for 11th graders, which is a partnership with Kewanee School District on February 18th. And then our students have scheduling day on February 11th where they pick their courses for next year. So there's a lot going on, that's for sure. So
See, there's quite a few new courses in general that not like the Rising Phoenix program, I mean, just our school district is offering even, so.
yeah,
That was, I mean,
an expansion on some of the trade courses.
nice to see.
Business, yep.
Not
early
the
childhood.
outside ones, but just here even, so.
And it's amazing that with the one who says 17 credits out of 64 before they even get to college is
Correct.
amazing.
Yep.
Saves a lot of money.
Thank
All
you.
right, we have a motion by Chrissy and a second by Lonnie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I'd entertain a motion to recommend to approve the purchase of the 2024 Thomas Safety Liner C272 passenger school bus from Nelson Bus Service LLC in the amount of $141,873.
So moved.
Second.
Got a tie. So we'll go with Lonnie, second by Chris.
Are we
All those-
surplusing a different one? What's the plan on adding to the fleet?
Yeah, so we have these funds set aside in our Fund 46. It was part of our 10-year capital plan. The plan with bus 7, which is our oldest bus, is to sell that. We have some mechanical issues that we need to address with that bus first before we can sell it. But we're hoping to sell it out to a third party. I know Washington Island School District is interested in purchasing it, possibly, for a bus to use.
Thank you, sorry.
No, you're fine. Solid vote. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, 13.4, recommend to approve the purchase of food service equipment from Warehouse Restaurant Equipment in the amount of $37,252.90.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chris, seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. I would entertain a motion to recommend to approve the contracts with Osborne Roofing Incorporated in the amounts of $119,000 and $149,900 to replace two separate sections of the roof at the middle and high school.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Jeremy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I'd entertain a motion to recommend to approve the contract with the Little Hearts Big Minds LHBM Legacy for the Huddle program in the amount of $58 per hour, not to exceed $10,000 for the semester.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jeremy, seconded by Chrissy. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. And I'd entertain a motion to approve the lease contract for copiers and printers with the Gordon Flesh Company in the amount of $1,317.65 per month.
So moved.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Lonnie.
I got a question, is this the normal for leasing on them? I mean,
Returns.
that's a big price and
Yeah,
lease, but I mean, that's a big price probably on printers, copiers anyways, so.
So that price is pretty close to what we currently pay. We actually pay just a hair more. But we worked with Gordon Flesh. The cost of copiers has skyrocketed, especially with the tariffs and things coming into play. So what they have done is kind of reworked our stock, and we're gonna replace half of them for 2 years, and then in another 2 years, we'll replace the other half, and that's how they're keeping the lease payment pretty close to what we
Gotcha.
currently pay.
Does this include maintenance?
Yes.
Everything's,
Ink too, right?
that's,
Yeah,
the
we
ink,
pay per page, and that covers ink and maintenance on the machines. It does not cover the glass. If we were to scratch the glass, we would have to pay that, pay to replace that, or staples in the machines we have to purchase. So, but ink and regular maintenance is included.
You also met with 2 other.
We did not. So this pricing is actually Flesh is our current provider for our machines, and they do a wonderful job. They are here on top of it when we do have issues. The one up here at the middle school, this in the teacher's room, has been giving us a lot of grief, and that is one that is slated to be replaced. And they're here working at it until they get it up and running again for us.
How many printers are in this contract?
This one, there's
Four.
that are going to be replaced.
4 and 4
That's a really good
copiers,
price.
right?
I shouldn't say that because I want to raise it, but yeah, I work with Gordon Fletch too in my job, and I paid more than that for one printer, so.
Yeah, they worked really hard to get us really close to what we're currently paying, and we did kind of maneuver some things, like the copier in the teacher's lounge has an oversized extra deck for paper, and we reduced it to about half the size. So Jesse sent out a survey to the teachers to see who's actually using that oversized deck, and do we actually need it? And it was determined that not as many people are using it as we thought, so I think they might have used it back when they did the look reviews in-house. Now we source that out because it's cheaper to source it out.
Yeah, these aren't just desktop printers, these
No,
are,
these are
industrial,
multifunction machines,
yeah.
yep, scanner, copier.
And by being on a 2-year lease, it kind of gives you some flexibilities for like the printer. Right now, we're at a 5-year, and prior to that, this would be a 4-year going forward. That way, we run into the issues that we're having with our large copier that has, well over 1 million prints in their lifetime. It gets us back into a new lease with a new machine sooner.
Yeah.
Depending on the service call. Prior to this year, that machine has had like no issues.
yeah, no, that's the way to go. We bought our printer, and I don't want to say how much we spent, it's embarrassing.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approving the lease contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, any future agenda items, get them to me or Jesse. All right, now I want to review the dates for future meetings. We have another Buildings, Grounds, and Transportation Committee meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, January 28th at the Middle and High School Library. There's a Charter School Committee that's going to meet at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. And the next regular board meeting will be held on Monday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. in this room at the Middle and High School. And with that, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has a jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
So move. Second.
All right, roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Lonnie?
Yes.
Amy, yes. Chrissy?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.